PSN News Live.
Coming up next on PSN News Tonight, the latest headlines from State College.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Gilliland.
And I'm Renae Gornick. A Penn State student is dead after being struck by a car this weekend. Cody Brace was hit by the vehicle at 2:15 a.m. Sunday in Pittsburgh and was pronounced dead around 2 hours later at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. A spokesperson for the Allegheny County Medical Examiner did not confirm which injuries Brace sustained in the accident.
The Paterno family has endorsed several candidates for the upcoming Board of Trustees election. David Paterno said in a letter on Saturday that his family is endorsing Barbara Duran, William Oldsey, and Edward Brown. The alumni group, Penn Staters for Responsible Stewardship, have also endorsed these candidates. Voting for the Board of Trustees will begin this Wednesday.
Bob Costas says he is planning on examining the free report as part of a future program on NBC. Costas told a St. Louis radio station that because of his previous involvement in the case, he feels a responsibility to still follow up on the story. He says he will examine both the free and Paterno reports and that he will approach any interview with a critical eye. Costas also said after a re-examination of the report, it is possible that Joe Paterno was not as responsible as the original report stated.
This week is Penn State's second annual Sexual Violence Awareness Week. There will be events every day this week to help spread awareness about this issue that is still a big problem. The University Park Undergraduate Association is sponsoring these events and hopes to educate more Penn State students about the effects of sexual assault. The One Heart campaign is also involved with the events this week. They hosted the Lighting the Way run on Saturday, and they helped organize the Rock Against the Rape concert that will take place downtown this Friday.
A production of Leonard Bernstein's Mass was put on this weekend to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Penn State's College of Arts and Architecture. This weekend, the 10th
annual American Indian Powwow took place at Mountain Indian Middle School. Penn State and State College Area School District hosted the event that included over 160 Native American dancers. There was also Indian drum music, food, and American Indian vendors selling and showcasing their crafts. The public also experienced a traditional Native American wedding at the powwow of a Native American Penn State graduate.
The Penn State anthropology professor Kirk French is teaming up with two members of the band Mara to create a documentary. A book titled Mountain Minstrelsy of Pennsylvania, written in the 1900s and featuring lyrics of traditional Pennsylvania folk songs from all over the state, inspired this whole new album from the band. The film will incorporate the history behind the book and the search for the descendants of the people mentioned in the songs, as well as the recording process for the new album.
Right back with reporter Courtney Barrow asking Penn State students their opinion on the recent UPO election. That's next on PSN News Live.
Big dreams and good grades aren't enough to get into college. There are actual steps you need to take. Finding someone who can help is the first and most important. For the next steps, go to knowhowtogo.org.
So, I mean, I would have started reading Alex's reader, but like...
I got no pulse.
Shock him. Is it real all the time? Just had a few drinks. Just can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear.
You're just buzzed.
Just buzzed. You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right. This isn't happening. You'll be fine.
I feel good.
Really?
No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shock him.
This can't be happening.
This can't be happening. Of course it's not happening. Armored cars.
Listen, having money isn't about luck. Make your own coffee, save $1,000 a year. Feed me. Feed the pig.
Hey, good game. Oh, there he is.
Great game, man.
Go get a win!
This year's MVP goes to Jake.
Take steroids and eventually everyone will see you for what you really are. A fake, a fraud, an asterisk. Don't be an asterisk.
Penn State will soon be offering new classes to the public via the internet for free. Massive Open Online Courses, or MOOCs, are free online courses available to anyone but are not eligible for college credit. This year, Penn State will offer 5 MOOCs through a website called Coursera. The university has reported over 50,000 people have signed up for the courses since Penn State joined the website in February. The classes will begin between May and October of this year.
This past Thursday, the Penn State Graduate Student Association elected new leaders for next year. Scott Rager was elected as president and Evelyn Miller as executive vice president. The results of those elections and others, including vice president of external affairs and graduate council representative, were announced at the Kern building.
UPUA held its elections last week, but with a surprisingly low voter turnout. So what did the students have to say? PSN News' Woman on the Street, Courtney Barrow, has the story.
With the end of every school year comes elections for most organizations, including the University Park Undergraduate Association. But after last year's election pulled in a record high of 19% of the student body, only 7.5% participated in this year's vote.
Now that's nearly 3,000 of the almost 45,000 undergraduates at University Park. You would think that a government organization that helps shape campus life, more people would want to have a say about who is in office. So why were polling numbers so low? PSN News had to ask the students.
Not everyone was too willing to talk.
Excuse me, did you guys vote in the recent UPUA elections? No. Sorry. Did you vote in the recent student government elections?
I did not.
Oh,
No, we did not.
But overall, there were a lot of the same answers.
I didn't know anything about. I didn't even know we were voting. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie.
Someone in our sorority said to vote, but I didn't know anything about it. Yeah, to be honest.
I honestly have no idea what they do or what they're for. So.
Luckily, there were a few actual voters inside explaining why they did vote.
I had friends this year actually partaking in the UPUA elections.
Didn't want Bernsteins to win for EUC president, so I voted for Will something.
Among them was Taylor Olson, a candidate on last week's ballot, explaining some of the problems with the election.
People don't really know the platforms of the people they're voting for, so they'll just vote for whoever hands them a computer.
So what could UPUA do differently?
I would go to East. I would go to East and tell them. I feel like you have to start with the freshmen.
But do projects that actually help students, people will know, and people will care more, because UPUA controls a $140,000 budget. Like, people should care where that money's being spent. It's from our tuition. So I think if they do bigger projects and if it's a contested presidential ticket, that'll get more voters.
Guess we'll have to wait and see until next year if and how the student interest changes. For PSN News, I'm Courtney Barrow.
Thanks, Courtney. South Korea announced late last week that North Korea has moved a missile with considerable range to its eastern coast. According to South Korea's defense chief, this missile is not capable of reaching the United States. This announcement came in response to a warning issued by North Korea that they are ready to attack American military forces. In recent weeks, North Korea has been making threats against the United States, citing the Pacific islands of Guam and Hawaii as possible targets for the missile.
Rutgers University has fired head basketball coach Mike Rice after video emerged on ESPN last week of the coach verbally and physically abusing his team. The video showed Rice shoving and throwing basketballs at his players. It also showed him shouting offensive slurs during practices. Rutgers athletic director Tim Pernetti was aware of the situation in November when he fined and suspended the coach for 3 games. Pernetti has since resigned in the wake of the scandal. University President Robert Baracchi saw the video and approved the coach's initial punishment. There is no official word on Baracchi's future at Rutgers.
Jimmy Fallon will be replacing Jay Leno as host of NBC's Tonight Show. The official announcement came last week in a widely speculated move by the network. The 38-year-old actor will replace 62-year-old Leno in spring 2014. The show will move from Los Angeles back to its original home in New York City at Rockefeller Center. No replacement for Jimmy Fallon has been named.
Look at this week's sports up next after the break.
So you can't save money? That's easy as pie. Brown bagging lunch instead of going out. $6 save times 5 days a week times 10 years is $21,000. That's a lot of lettuce. Small changes today, big bucks tomorrow. Feed the pig.
So you're the new girl. Yes. That's cute. Go on in.
Mr. Felsnikov, thank you for overlooking my credit score. I was in college and I charged up a whole bunch of things that I really couldn't afford. Who knew employers checked that?
Hey kid, I don't credit check you. You don't credit check me. Capiche? And sometimes it floods in here. You might want to start wearing boots.
Potential employers can check your credit. Don't let your bad credit put you in a bad job.
Passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me. Hanging on the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler.
Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put handcuffs on you, okay? For your protection and mine, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to put it in front of you so it will be comfortable, okay?
All right. Whatever you want to do.
Okay. All right. Is that too tight?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay, you got it?
Yeah.
All right.
Hello everyone, I'm Chelsea Clemens with this week's sports. The Penn State men's lacrosse team had an outstanding performance against Drexel Saturday, sweeping the 12th ranked team 13-6. Penn State's Austin Kaut scored had a recorded 13 saves throughout the game, while key players Jack Forrester and TJ Sanders contributed 4 goals apiece. The Nittany Lions came out the second half fired up, scoring 9 of the 13 goals while dominating ground balls and faceoffs. Penn State will be taking on Towson this coming Saturday at 1 p.m. Meanwhile, the Penn State women's lacrosse team fell short to Northwestern Wildcats 11-3. The Nittany Lions couldn't find the answer to Northwestern's dominant defense. Penn State's Tatum Coffey and Kelly Lechner both tallied 1 goal for the Nittany Lions. Northwestern's Aaron Fitzgerald had a standout appearance, adding 4 goals to the Wildcats scoreboard. Penn State is now gearing up for their next game against Lehigh, home on Wednesday, April 10th at 7 p.m. The Penn State baseball team had a difficult start to the season. Friday night, the Nittany Lions hosted Wright State, looking for their first win of the season. Matt Michelone has more on the story on Game 1 of the weekend series.
I'm Matt Michelone reporting tonight from Miller Field at Barnett Park as the Penn State Nittany Lions host the Wright State Raiders in Game 1 of a 3-game weekend set. The Nittany Lions will send to the mound TJ Jan. Jan, a right-hander and redshirt sophomore, is 1-4 in the season with a 5.06 ERA. He'll be opposed by Casey Henn of the Raiders, who is with a 3.35 ERA. We'll see if the Nittany Lions can get on track after starting the year 5-19.
It was a pitcher's duel early for each team after this walk issued to Steve Snyder by Casey Henn. He managed to bounce back for 1 of his 5 strikeouts on the night. With Wright State leading 1-0 in the top half of the 8th inning, Justin Kopel, with 1 out, managed to get on base with a single to right field. Things got even worse for the Nittany Lions. With 1 out, Keyston Green stepped to the plate and would belt this single to center field, putting runners at first and second for the visitors. The Nittany Lions did manage to score 3 runs in the bottom half of the 8th inning, but Zach Al's flyout ended all offense for the Nittany Lions on the evening. Wright State would go on to score 3 more runs in the top half of the 11th for the 7-4 win.
Lineup-wise, I think I'm going to go back to where we started and grind it out with those guys. But I think the bench stepped up. Those guys in certain situations, created that rally. We need to understand that walk is a weapon, not chasing.
In 7 1/3 innings pitched for the Nittany Lions, TJ Jan gave up just 3 earned runs, and Elliot Sayre at third base went 4 for 6. The Nittany Lions will host Wright State in 2 more games before calling it a series with the Raiders. Reporting live from Medler Field at Bronner Park, I'm Matt Michelone for PSN.
Penn State continued their series against Wright State Saturday afternoon, falling yet again to the Raiders. Wright State pitcher Joey Hosel earned the win, going 7 innings with 1 earned run and 4 hits. Penn State scored their first run in the 2nd inning with an RBI from junior Alex Farkas. However, the Raiders responded the next inning with 2 more runs and won the final score of 6-2. The Nittany Lions played their final game in the series against Wright State on Sunday afternoon. Reporter Tatum Coffey has more on the story.
Tatum Coffey reporting from Medler Field at LeBron Park for Game 3 of a 3-game series between the Penn State Nittany Lions and the Wright State Raiders. The Raiders beat the Lions 7-4 in 11 innings on Friday and again on Saturday 6-2. The Lions are still looking for their first win since March 9th and will hopefully get the job done today. Penn State jumped to an early lead in the first inning with an RBI single from J.C. Coben and a 2-run single by Luis Montesino, making the score 3-0. In the top of the second, the Raiders scored an unearned run, cutting the deficit to 3-1. With bases loaded singles by Elliott Searer and Coben, the Lions' lead was increased to 5-1. In the top of the 5th inning, the Raiders took advantage of 2 errors committed by the Lions to make the lead only 5-3. This was as close to victory as the Raiders would get, as Penn State held the Raiders scoreless for the remainder of the game and scored 6 more runs, making the final score 11-3. Afterwards, Coach Robbie Wine had a few words about his team's performance.
We have a lot to prove, but I think the feeling is, okay, now we got over the hump and we're playing fun, relaxed, at least for one game. You know, have good practice tomorrow and then carry it over into Tuesday.
The Lions convincingly beat the Raiders 11-3 to end their 13-game losing streak. The Lions host Kent State on Tuesday, April 9th, and Bucknell on Wednesday, April 10th. Reporting from Medler Field at LeBron Park, I'm Tatum Coffey, PSN.
The women's softball team fell short 2-1 in their weekend series against Indiana. Nittany Lion Lauren Yao connected with a heated pitch, contributing a home run for Penn State. Cassidy Bell and Jordan Wheatley were also standout players for the Nittany Lions this weekend. Indiana's consistent performance of loading the bases ended up working in the Hoosiers' favor, allowing Indiana to rack up scored runs throughout the series. The Nittany Lions take action next on Tuesday, April 9th against the St. Francis at 6 p.m. And that does it for this week's sports. We'll be back right after the break.
Honey, the credit fairy doesn't exist.
What?
It's make-believe. Nobody left anything under your pillow.
If there's no credit fairy, then we'll make our credit score go up.
We will, by doing things like paying our bills on time.
There's no magic to improving your credit, but there's help, and it's free. Go to creditfairy.org.
What?
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Oh, 先生你好，歡迎光臨，等等先。唔該晒。Brandon.
She was a passenger. I was T-boned on the passenger side.
We just had some wine. I wasn't even drunk, I was just buzzed.
What? You were just buzzed? Well, sir, you didn't tell us that. In that case, she's just fine.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Really?
No, not really.
Buzz driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
And that does it for us here tonight at PSN News Live for April 8th, 2013. Thanks for joining us, and make sure to check us out on Twitter at PSN News.
And make sure to watch us every Monday night live at 7 p.m. And enjoy the national championship game tonight between Louisville and Michigan. Have a good week, and thanks for watching.